I probably don't need the microphone. Can you hear me at the back?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Manil. And thank you for inviting Nigel and I along this morning. It's been a series of emails and phone calls and a few meetings with Manil's family and colleagues. And I guess my role is with different multicultural communities around Victoria, but specifically in Melbourne, and it's very, very diverse, and there's been many programs that we've been running over the years, and I guess there are occasionally opportunities like this that come up, and some we get on board with and some we don't. And this one was one that we very quickly thought that it really did have legs, just based on a very strong passion for the cause, and also a mutual, I guess, objective, in that many times, whether it be Chandra or Ravi or Manil or Radha or Mum and Dad, it was mentioned that, look, even if we can save one life, that it would be worth it. And that's definitely what has certainly happened over the last few years with the different multicultural projects that I've been involved with. There have been some tragedies along the way, but kind of a strange thing, or a good thing, I'm not sure how you place this, but we've probably had, in the last 2 years alone, just with 2 projects, we've had 10,000 people through projects where they might have been involved with beach programs and Meet Lifeguard. So that's 10,000 people, and whilst there's been a handful of tragedies along the way, I would say there's been many tragedies that have been averted. You just don't hear about where people have got into trouble and got out of it. Or you don't hear about the situations where people go down to the beach and they are a little bit more aware and they just didn't get into trouble in the first place. Or you don't hear about the situations where somebody got into trouble and a family member or a friend helped them and they got out of it. So there's no doubt about it that a foundation like this will absolutely save lives. It's just a given, and I guess based on that mutual objective of saving other people's lives, we're very, very happy to get on board. And I guess going back to that initial point, certainly meeting up with the family members and the friends and the colleagues, you can see the passion there, and we just felt like these people are very serious, and I guess there was a mutual trust there. So we're very much looking forward to it and been very impressed with the professionalism that the foundation has shown so far. So today, I might just give you this, I think I'll turn it away at it. Yeah. A few of the questions that were asked earlier on is that we have a great cause, and I think that you're able to generate a lot of people with this, but and there may be contacts and expertise in different areas, but what about the actual rollout of specific activities? When people get down to the beach, what are they going to do? And maybe if we're able to get people into a lecture theatre or into a communal, what are we going to say to them? So it was a case of, that was maybe the mystery box that hadn't really been clarified. And I guess today, and I've spoken over it with a small group, but today is just an opportunity to give you an idea of the sorts of activities, a couple in particular, that Manil has brought up. So, just to give you a little bit of a background, you're right, we have been involved with lifesaving for a very, very long time, and it's probably been after 2000 that 2 very, very strong organisations got together and came together as one. And one was Surf Lifesaving Australia, well, I guess here it was in Victoria. Another one was Royal Lifesaving Society. And I guess one was maybe more involved with inland waterways and pools, and a little bit of beach involvement. But Surf Lifesaving was probably the more well-known one. and was really involved with the majority of what's now is about 56 or 57 different life-saving clubs. So now the two of them came together after 2000 and became what is Life Saving Victoria. In the last decade, my area is multiculturalism, and I'm involved with all types of different groups around Melbourne and Victoria, and that really came about because for one reason or other it became obvious that different groups were getting into trouble probably more often and more seriously than others, and maybe that had a bit to do with just the opportunity to get education on water safety and the beach. In the last 2 years, we really stepped up things, and we've had a number of different projects. And as I mentioned before, a couple of projects alone, and one that is really in line with these beach programs, have had over 10,000 people. Just as a little bit of a snapshot, just in the last 2 months, this is kind of a quiet time for surf lifesaving, just based seasonally. But we've had these different universities and TAFEs and tertiary institutions contact us probably over the last 3 or 4 months because they realise, and so they should, that there are many, many people coming from many different parts of the world, and that they do educate them to a degree on things like crime and fire and the use of water, like use of water as in don't waste water and different things. But they are now starting to feel, I guess, the brunt of what's been sort of happening over the last decade as well. And they're saying, look, we have an obligation to the mums and dads back in other countries to at least show that we're doing something to educate their sons and daughters. So, yeah, June, July, we've had a number of different participants in our Meet Lifeguard program. So I know that you guys have got contacts, and we do as well. So I think it's a great opportunity to use your contacts and our contacts, and to try to set up as many opportunities for international students as possible. I'll go to the next slide. Yeah, it's a little bit small, but look. Basically, what it's saying there is that right now in Victoria, I think on the last census, there's like 44% of all Victorians they're either born in another country or either mum and dad was. So Victoria is a majorly multicultural state, and some of the areas that I work with, particularly like Greater Dandenong, Brimbank, Hume, where it's running between 40% and 60%. So very, very high multicultural areas. But what's happened over time is that I guess our programs have become more popular or more needed because we've found that the people that are involved in these projects, they either have no or low knowledge of water safety. And it doesn't always mean that they can't swim. It's just that, even though I will say that probably over the last couple of years, and it's not specifically the Indian community but other communities, they actually cannot swim. But it's not, people don't get into trouble because they cannot swim. I mean, I've been in trouble before because I come from rural Victoria, and I've been in trouble when I was younger, even though I was a good swimmer. It's just that I didn't understand at that stage sort of how rips work. So just the fact that you can swim doesn't mean that you can't get into trouble. In the future, in Victoria, we are, migration is going to continue, and whatever the situations that we have now, which is cause for concern and alarm, with an extra 48,000, 50,000 people every year, this situation certainly isn't going to get better unless we can start to get the word out there.